Well, all right, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the PlanetGenX podcast reacts to Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Episode 6. Yes, it's far, far away. I'm
A long
Sean,
time ago.
and that's Brian over there.
What's up, guys?
How we doing, man?
Can't complain. How about yourself?
Oh, I am doing fantastic, as always. Yeah, it's been a good day. So, the world of Ahsoka, such a strange, strange world. There were so many things I loved about this episode, and so many things, well, it's like half the episode I loved, and the rest of it I was like bored to tears.
Right. Before we dive into scenes and what's happening,
Yeah.
I did kind of want to lay one thing down. Dave Filoni is one of those guys who makes me question how I feel about an artist's vision versus a collaboration. Right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes when it's all his, it feels like the I forget what the modern word is, but it was Kotaku for us, right?
Yeah.
It's the Kotaku and the Three Wolf crowd that he's really pitching to, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are some great scenes. There are some lackluster scenes. There's some great CGI. There's some lackluster CGI.
Oh man, yeah, I know. It's like
But-
hit and miss.
Yeah, the overall vision kind of feels like, I don't know, maybe a little forced to me.
Yeah, like I don't know, maybe because it's too fan friendly. Is that the problem? Yeah, I mean we
I don't know that it's too fan friendly. It just kind of feels like I said, the whole Kotaku and Three Wolf crowd. It's like, why is some of that in there? Obviously, we haven't seen a whole lot of the wolf representation, right?
yeah.
We've got Bell and Shin, Hati and Skull from Ragnarok, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But in the cartoon, it was a very repeated motif, and we're not getting as much as that. In this, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe I kind of agree, but
Yeah, so I mean the name of the episode, did I say it already?
you did.
Far
Well,
away.
you said that, but you didn't say that was the name of it.
Yeah,
but-
that is the name of the episode. But before we
Right.
get into the rest of the podcast, I'd like to say hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let me get rid of this stupid
Throw us some comments while you're at it.
yeah, throw us some comments. But
Good looking out, buddy.
yeah, we start out with the whales. We see the whales doing their thing. One thing I noticed right off the bat that I thought, why do they have the little baleen looking things that regular whales have?
Yep.
Are they sifting space, plankton or something like that? If that's the case, I'll dig it. But otherwise, I don't know why they have those.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be that. It could be. They obviously eat some type of space plankton, right?
I
'Cause
guess
of the
they'd have
teeth.
to, so maybe it's functional, in which case
Yeah.
I'm down with it. It's okay. I just had to question, did they need that? And if they didn't, why does it look like a whale that lives underwater or something like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was saying. They have bristle teeth as well, so I don't know if that's just
That's what I mean.
drawing too much from the inspiration, or maybe, maybe
Yeah.
it's just supposed to be like
If
that.
those baleen work like that, then cool. I'm cool. It's good.
Yeah.
It's all right. So, yeah, we see Huang telling his story, and he goes with the traditional a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which was a nice little thing to kind of... That's something for us as an audience, right?
Yeah,
But now it kind of brings it into the story.
I don't know. It felt kind of cheapened for me because
I
of
can see that point of view. Sure.
all of the stuff that gets thrown out. It's like it should have been more on a pedestal or done special,
Yeah.
but it was just yet another bit of fan service.
I don't know if it's because he had so many long lines in this particular episode, but Huang sounded more like David Tennant, just being David Tennant with a slight little bit of, filter on him. to change
I
the
agree
voice.
with that. In the previous episodes, It it really felt like there was a lot more voice acting going on his
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's just because we're just used to hearing little one-liner snippets, and he does, it enables it to just sound very robotic, and then he's getting these long lines, like I said, telling the story.
yeah.
It just seemed like I was hearing more of him. Um, I thought too. I always wondered. I'm sure somebody has brought these people up, but those, you remember in Return of the Jedi, when the Emperor showed up on the Death Star,
Hmm.
and he had those, like, for lack of a better word, aides or handmaidens or whatever. Like they
Yeah,
had a
it's
very pallor look to them, like he did. Their
yeah.
eyes were sunken and reddened, and I thought that the witches kind of reminded me a lot of them.
I kind of got that same feel as well. I don't know. I've got mixed feelings on how they present the Night Sisters because in various media, they're represented in a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah,
Like their pallor, their skin tone, their dimensions, like everything about them.
yeah,
Um, I felt like it worked for the scene for what we're doing with it, right?
yeah. I mean, I don't have anything against them, but I was just kind of thinking, is there some kind? Could there? I would like to know more about those people, for one, because I'm I found out that the Night Sisters they came from early sketches of what they were going to use for the Sith in
Right.
Episode One.
Yeah.
So it had me wondering if this goes back further for George, if these people with Palpatine back then had something to do if he was going down that road in his mind, you know.
You're probably not alone on that one, brother.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people that want to know more.
I wonder, since I don't keep up with like how the Legends stuff and books and all that, I wonder if there's ever been anything said about those people and who they were.
Well, yeah, I mean, there have been in a variety of the books, comics, and all of it, but I don't think there's really been like a cohesive canon.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I don't know. They see, if there isn't, then they could kind of tie that into, oh, well, these were the people that were, with Palpatine the whole time. So he's kind of been working with the Night Sisters or something like that.
Right.
But I guess that's all matriarchal, and I don't know the sex of the people that were with him. It seemed like at least one of them was a man. There might have been a female with him, but I think they were all men, so it might not work.
I couldn't really tell personally. Usually, excuse me, when it comes to the Night Sisters, it's the Night Sisters, right? But there
Yeah.
are males, male Dathomiri
Well, you
as
have
well.
like Darth Maul, right, and his
Hmm.
brother.
Yeah.
So, yeah, certainly there's a whole connection there. Obviously, there is a connection to Palpatine through Maul, so he has that Night Witch or Night Sister, sorry, uh, connection even
I
through
think it
that.
works both ways. Don't they call them both?
Probably, I wouldn't
I think so.
wouldn't
Or
doubt
maybe
it.
just witches. I don't know.
Yeah. Um. So, that when they come in on the
The ring.
hyperspace ring, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Uh, that ship, that little ship that they come to the planet on, I thought, man, that looks just like that ship from Dune, the original movie from '84.
Mm,
It was what they essentially were using as the ornithopter. They didn't do
right.
ornithopters in that movie, but anybody who read the book knew it was supposed to be an ornithopter. So
Yeah.
this was the representation of the ornithopter then, and I just thought it looked like dead on almost. It was a nice homage. So that had Dune in my head for that. And I also thought that from the point of view in the cell when Sabine was in the cell, it looked very Dune-like as well. It had that slit. It was just all concrete, the
Yeah.
angles, and it just had the slit. So I thought, wow, a couple little Dune things. I don't know if that was intentional or just coincidence.
Who knows?
Yeah,
Um, I will agree. I really did like the scene of the shuttle or whatever, the craft,
yeah,
like separating from the ring.
Yeah, it was really neat. That whole scene. That was good CG.
Yes,
Um,
agreed.
but certainly the easiest to do.
Yeah.
The next thing, man, when we come up to where they see the Night Sisters for the first time, they're doing their little things with their orbs, and then all of a sudden we're seeing this Star Destroyer, the familiar Star Destroyer testicles come flopping up out of the top in the shot, and then you see
Yep.
this thing, and I love the battle damage on this thing. All the
I did too.
panels and everything. We've talked about this before, I believe, is ships being taken and reused, like in the New Republic, and putting a decal on the bottom of it.
Hmm.
He's got that huge decal I was talking about, representing what he is.
I felt like that roll in of the Star Destroyer was
Yeah,
probably one of the best. It upsets me because that initial scene was probably one of the best. It set the scale,
it
right?
did,
Like
man.
it gave you a sense of the scale.
You were
Uh,
wowed by its rising up in there, but then they take you to a new level with that shot where it's just lowering down on top of them. Then you're like, wow, that's pretty
right.
fucking cool.
But then almost like immediately after that, they do some shots where the scale just seems kind of meh.
Yeah, yeah, but then they bring you right back in by showing you the interior, and we get a look at the fucking stormtroopers for the first time, dude, and they
Right.
look wild,
Ooh, yeah,
wild
wildly
as
different.
fuck, and with all the cracks in the armor and this this
Kintsugi?
crimson, yeah, ribbons they've got all through them. And then that dude, fucking, what's his name? I got it written down right here. Enoch.
Enoch?
Yeah, Enoch turns around. You're like, whoa, dude, Mr. Goldface. That's pretty wicked.
What is that from? That face is
Oh,
almost
dude,
identical to like a classic
it
sci-fi,
made
right?
me feel like two things. It reminded me of Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick,
Maybe.
and like Gladiator, like
Yeah,
one of the face helmets from Gladiator, like the two mixed and maybe painted gold.
that
Just
sounds about right. Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool. It had an effect.
Yeah.
I think I saw something to maybe it's speculation about they're an undead army too, maybe.
Yeah, well that and I mean like I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I really kind of feel like there's going to be a reveal with Enoch, right?
I hope so.
Like
Yeah,
at some point it's going to be like you expect it to be like the mask comes off and we realize who it is, but obviously it's going to be more like the backstory is told, and
yeah,
like we'll eventually see his face.
yeah, and who knows how that's going to go down. I mean, all we know
Yeah.
from him is a little bit he spoke. He told her to die well. You know.
Which is interesting, you know.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like the troops. So Morgan, Bailiff, and Shen all have like this obvious animosity towards her, but like everybody there is kind of like meh, whatever, except for Thrawn, who is. We can get more into him later. I do want to talk more about that, but you know, there's a different feel there amongst the troops, and even with him as compared to our trifecta that we've already been dealing
I
with.
mean, dude, the fact that they are, you just see like the fact that they survive and the state of them.
Yeah.
And then you see too, it makes me think, since you brought Thrawn up, about that scene where, what is it? Who is it? Morgan questions. She asks shouldn't we send some troops in? And he ponders. They show him, and he's pondering her for a moment. And you can, I don't know, for me, I put myself in his position. I'm thinking, okay, right now he's thinking if he wants to yell at her or not. But
Right.
that's Thrawn, and it's measured. Everything's measured perfectly. So he's measuring it right now, and he gives her a perfectly, rather than go off and say, well, why are you questioning me? He actually educates her instead on why,
Yeah.
and us at the same time.
And that's one of the things that I like about the way that Thrawn is represented in general and in this episode is, you
Yeah,
know, not
yeah,
just your uber evil guy, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. He has a motivation. It might not be in line with most people's, moral compass, but his motivation to him is pure.
Yeah.
And it's right up until this point, like I said, when he says, uh, die well, with Enoch saying that, that's pretty
Hmm.
much where this episode for me just goes downhill. In a lot of ways. First of all, the mount that she's on,
Yeah.
horrible animations. Some pulled back animations with just standard dog like tracking, fine. That stuff works okay. But some of the stuff where he was like putting his paws up and stuff, and there was some gravity that you needed, some weight that needed to be involved. Rob Coleman would have been pissed as hell. It probably is pissed as hell because I noticed
Right.
watching this stuff that people aren't. He's like a a weight guy. I don't know. I was just trying to think of a word for it. Um, I know for him in animation, it's all about weight, and he's right.
Gotcha.
That's how
Yeah.
you make stuff look real.
Yeah.
And yeah, he would have been screaming at the TV or whatever in those scenes because they were horrible, man.
Yeah.
And some of it, like you say, it hits, but then others, it just doesn't.
Well, I mean, and also like I had to have this pointed out to me by an article. Like that whole thing after Sabine leaves should have been endearing and interesting, right? This is like the fool's journey almost, right? She's
Yeah,
setting out, but I just didn't get that.
and
The
her,
only thing I really got from it was the continuation of, speech patterns that Star Wars is known for.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, like her struggle along the way was not much of a struggle. Like those
Right.
little, mercenaries on the road. That was it. That was. I
Yep.
mean, it needed to be more like a Lord of the Rings quest, which there's a lot of comparisons to Lord of the Rings for this episode too. Apparently,
Mm.
I'm not an uber Lord of the Rings nerd, so I can't go into those. Um, that last thing on Enoch, on his helmet, he's got the insignias. I was trying to see. I believe it's Empire insignias, but it looks very much like the Old Republic too. The Old Republic
Right.
had more facets to it
Yeah.
than the Empire one did. But I couldn't get a good enough look at it. But I believe it's Empire. But I was thinking how cool it would have been if that was an Old Republic helmet.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's kind of one of the things with the Empire in general, like all the offshoots, the First Order, and all this other stuff. A lot of their insignia bear similar motifs based on the same. If you're not familiar, most of these emblems are based off of Mandelbrot set, visualized. You can look into that more. You can find a link anywhere. Maybe my homie here will have a link to something, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the motif has been adjusted and new elements put into it, and that's
Yeah.
pretty common in the Empire.
Yeah, I think like with the original the Republic symbol, they ended up using the Empire symbol. It just has less facets, which to me would just mean like each facet probably represents a certain governing body or something like that, like governor.
Yeah.
Like they went from the council they had, I mean Senate, so it had many facets to a more simplified one is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's Empire, but it would be way cooler if it was just the Republic symbol. If it was like a clone trooper helmet, some special, like it was from a badass troop, and he took it, so it just kind of shows his badassery,
Right. Yeah.
something like that. Or if they're undead, like people speculate, then he was the troop that was the badass, and now he's just undead wearing it with this new facade.
And that would be interesting. Like, we've only seen Rex in a flashback, right? And we don't know what became of
Are you
Rex.
talking about in live action?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We
just
saw-
in general.
Well,
like,
no, I mean Rex he's been in the regular Rebels cartoon.
right. But that was before this, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah,
So, like, time wise,
You're
up
saying
to this
we don't
point,
know if Rex is alive, right? I don't know if he did. Did he die in the cartoon in the fourth?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't think so. I
I
don't
don't
think they
think so
really said
either.
that. Everybody just kind of parted ways, right?
That would be cool to see Rex.
Yeah,
That'd be
and it
cool.
would be way tragic if he was undead, right?
Oh, what if he? Yeah, but that would be. Well, I guess it could have been Rex if he got if he went with Ezra and Thrawn. That could be him.
Right.
Boy, that'd be a big leap. But you heard it here first. If it does end up being him,
Right. My mind to your mind.
Wonder
Wrong
Twin
franchise.
powers.
Yep.
The bandits, man, they sounded too Tusken Raidery for me.
I can get down with that.
I realize they're speaking this Nati, that's what my subtitle said, this Nati language. So those grunts they're saying and those little hermit crab little dudes speak the same language, but they sound totally different to me. So I don't know how
Well,
that.
I mean, the little turtle dude sounded like freaking Jawas to me.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I just didn't think there was much originality in sound design. It sounds like somebody went through the archives and picked up too many familiar sounds.
Agreed.
Yeah,
But that could have been one of those things where it's like a big project, and the crunch comes, and nobody's ready for it, and you just deal with the material
yeah.
you
You
got.
just go to your SoundCloud.
Yep. Click, click, click.
Mhm. We're just gonna build something here. Screw going off and recording our own thing. That
Right.
costs money. Yeah, I don't know about space hermit crabs, man. How'd you feel about them? This whole thing, like I said, from her whole mission to the very end, it just sucked wind. I thought it drug out.
Yeah, I kind of felt differently. I felt like I wasn't into it because there wasn't enough. Like if they could have taken this and been like one scene or one episode to where like all of this goes down, and then at the end of the episode, Sabine leaves,
Yes,
and then we
right.
get an episode or two of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
journey,
Well,
right?
yeah, at least one episode, I think, maybe two, because we don't know how many episodes they have anyway. But yeah, one episode.
Pretty sure it's
Like you
eight.
say, she goes at the end of this one. She has the next episode. She goes through a bunch of shit, not just one little group of guys. She goes through
Right.
like two or three things to end up finally finding Ezra, and he's sucking cock for whatever behind the back alley of whoever. She finds him in a very low place.
Right. Look at that turtle cock.
Yeah, I guess a man's got to make money somehow.
Yeah. Well, or whatever they use.
Will Jedi for food. Yeah, so that's my last note, man. Started good, but just blew out for me after they left Thrawn.
Well, I mean, the more interesting aspect of this to me was Balin and Shin, right? Like their interaction, the talk of the Jedi and the stories, and more mystery as to what his actual
Yeah, what's his motivation?
plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the tale of him, like I can't remember what the exact line was, but he liked the element, but the truth was shitty, right?
Yeah. Well,
Of
he
the
liked the
Jedi.
idea, but
Yeah.
the truth just didn't work out, really. Yeah, I thought it was cool. He was telling her about how it's interesting because there's so much stuff we know is just stories, like vampires, for example, or something like
Right.
that. What if, and then all of a sudden you find out, well, holy shit, they're real. It's not stories. These stories have been around to warn us. There's a
Yeah.
reason.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of cool. I like the play between him. That girl's weird looking though.
She is.
She is a weird looking chick. But so
That's on purpose, right?
yeah. So he's trying to make out like she's gonna be somebody because she was like, I'm a wild Jedi taught in the wild, like Ezra was.
Right. Boken Jedi is what he
Okay.
referred to
Yes, right,
Sabine as,
right,
which is like the practice swords and a lot of martial arts.
right. So and Luke is a Boken.
Yeah. I mean, Pretty much everybody after Obi and that group, right?
Yeah. Anybody who, yeah, I mean, like if you weren't training when Order 66 went down, you're boking it.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So, I guess we'll get down to some star action. Boy, this is gonna suffer, man. It could be so much more.
It could. I don't know. I think the Night Sisters were done okay. I think I was not 100% satisfied with Thrawn's appearance. Like the set and everything was great, but just the makeup
Oh yeah,
and
you didn't like it, huh?
costume.
I thought it did really well.
I don't know. It was
It
like,
does look a bit oily, but god damn it,
yeah, I think
fuck
that's
this
what it
shit.
was. Like he looked greasy. The hairline was kind of weird, right? I know it's supposed to be all slicked back and everything, but for some reason it just looked weird.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you locked up there.
No, no, sorry.
That's all good. I don't know, just something about the overall presentation of Thrawn in and of himself. I can get behind.
Hmm. Well, I was happy with all that. Yeah, I mean, like I'm big into the whole Empire side of things. I love everything about the Empire and the concept, the idea, the government, the whole government idea and everything. And I love the different armors, the stormtrooper armors. So seeing these guys like this, it's just like getting a whole new set of armor, a new set of style.
Well, the
Very
Empire
cool.
got the most memorable march, right?
Yeah,
Like of all the music, everybody knows the Imperial
that's
March,
right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's no Republic March. Well, I guess there
Right.
probably is a Republic
Well,
March, but it's not nearly as memorable.
it's all a bunch of like, "Ba, ba, da, ba, ba," right?
Yeah, fanfare shit. A
Yeah.
lot of fanfare. Dun, 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 dun.
And the guy's name who plays Thrawn that we can never remember, it's Lars Mikkelsen.
Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were getting to stars.
We are. With all of that, this episode for me, I'd be hard pressed to go lower or higher than a 3.
See, I'm right on dead three. We
We
are of
agree
one
then.
mind. Yeah, three is it, man. Because look, it could be a four, 4.5, maybe even a 5. But I'm literally giving it half an episode. So I mean, we don't do 6 stars, but so I feel like it's just midway.
Yeah.
3, boom.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like there has to be something really bad to give it a 2.5, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And
No, I
like
mean it
a
wasn't
1 is
complete
just a
crap.
hot steaming pile, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude. So like the excitement of seeing Thrawn and all that, just the seeing the Star Destroyer in its state and all that, just
Yeah.
for me that gives them 3 points there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of coolness in the episode. It just trails off for me. It just loses it. So it peters out. Like I don't know what the runtime was at that point where they set off, but that maybe she does go and fights that first set of mercenaries before the very end. But boom, that's the end of the episode there, and then we
Right.
get the rest of it, like you said, next
Yeah.
episode. What? So we're on episode 6. We may get 10. As
I think
far,
we're only getting 8.
yeah, I believe so because we're already at Ezra. But dude, yeah, that's not enough for Thrawn. I just hope they come back with a good second season and third season.
That's what's going to happen. Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know what the hell they're going to do about Balin. Balin's either got
I
to
know,
die
dude.
or wander off or something.
And uh, did they get a chance to figure out what they would like? Did he die well into post production?
Right.
Right
I don't
after it
know.
was
I don't
filmed.
know how it lined up, right?
Yeah, so they might have been like, well, oh fuck. Now we got to figure something out here. I mean, they might not have intended him to die. It certainly sounds like he has a grand scheme up his sleeve, which would have
Yeah.
made for a great thread
Yeah,
to
I agree.
a
He should have
story.
been like, obviously Thrain being the big bad, or Thrawn
Yeah,
being the big bad, but him being like, the intriguing bad character, right?
yeah. Yeah. Well, the
Uh,
anti-hero, because I feel good in him.
yeah. Well,
So
I mean,
it's his good,
it's
but
a struggle, right?
yeah, I think he's a principled man,
Right,
and um, I mean, it's just not pure evil like a Sith.
right.
There's certainly his good is just measured differently than other people's good and
I
evil for
just,
that matter.
yeah, I just feel like there's so much more to that character, and I imagine they felt the same way. Uh, but it gets into one complaint I have. I'll try to shut up after this of modern storytelling. It's all. I think after the Netflix era, people don't know how to make shows that you don't binge anymore,
Yeah,
right? I
right.
kind of feel like once this season's over, the correct way to watch it is, like I say, just not necessarily all in one sitting, but like as much as you can at a time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, we've talked about that before. Some stuff suffers, like Obi-Wan. It should have been watched as a whole from
yeah.
the get-go.
So I think that just has to do with uh, kind of a natural progression of storytelling
Yeah,
of what we're dealing with in this day and age.
yeah. I guess. I mean, they have to fit it in how it's laid out for them. I suppose they say you've got 8 episodes or 10 episodes. They got to figure out how to block that out.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well,
I guess we'll figure it out and see next episode, episode 7. I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched any trailers or anything, so it'll be a surprise when I see it.
ditto.
But it won't be a surprise when we see you guys next week and for the next reaction video, right?
Yep.
So as always, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace out, y'all. Peace. 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 Peace.